Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem before us right now, and I want to tell you all about it, but I also want to address something that's going around like wildfire, and that is this message that was put out by Donald Trump. Let's watch it first.
Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line.
All right, so yes, it's making its way through the interwebs. Everybody's forwarding and tagging because, concealed carry reciprocity should be already a thing because it's a right. It should be recognized across the country. This video, this part of a speech, a longer speech that Trump put out in 2023. Now, this is making its way around, and I even shared it again last night, but I waited to share it because I saw Donald Trump Jr. put it out, so maybe there's something behind it. But this is something that's been out for a bit. We need to get a bill through Congress, both chambers, and then obviously to his desk where we will hold him to what he said. Promises made, promises kept. But let's talk about getting that bill through Congress, which leads me to this problem before us. 3 United States senators are on the short list to become the next Senate Majority Leader, which will be voted on in a secret ballot this Wednesday, and then the new leader will take their spot at the lead come January during the next term of Congress. How this works is all of the bills currently in consideration, when this session of Congress ends, they die. So these will all need to be new bills brought to this leader, which is why this is so important. Why should we be concerned with this at all, Jared? Well, should a Pro 2A bill have a chance, this Senate Majority Leader would have to give their blessing for the bill's consideration and be able to get 60 senators on the same page so that it passes cloture, and defeats the filibuster, and can go to the floor to be voted on. That's still a problem right now. In 2025, we are counting on this new leader to bring forward such bills like the Shush Act or the Hearing Protection Act, bills that have been floating around the last couple of years to remove short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns and silencers from the NFA, concealed carry reciprocity, and more. Now, those bills will need to be reintroduced. Often they just print them out again, put a new date on it, and throw it into the batch. But we need the leadership to push these so that they can get voted on. And that's the problem we have, because this short list in the Senate is made up of 3 people right now that are in the lead. Texas Senator John Cornyn, Florida Senator Rick Scott, and South Dakota Senator John Thune. Now, why is this a problem, you might ask? I'll tell you why, right after I mention the video sponsor, Lear Capital. Guys, Lear's been saying for about a year now that gold could soon hit the $3,000 an ounce mark, and it's getting very close. If you've bought some gold, there's no doubt you're very happy that you did. If you haven't yet, now might be the perfect time to get in and buy some gold and silver. I chose Lear to help educate my viewers about the strategic need to own gold. It protects you and me against the enormous financial challenges we face today, and likely will for a couple years to come at least. Lear has taught me that hope is not a financial strategy, but owning precious metals is. So if you don't own gold or silver and you want to, call my friends at Lear Capital, 1-800-260-5075. Get their free information, ask them the tough questions. There's no pressure to buy. Ask about their 24-hour risk-free purchase protection. And they also have over $3 billion in trusted transactions and thousands of 5-star reviews. Lear Capital is the precious metals leader you can trust. 1-800-260-5075 or leargg.com. Thanks to Lear for being a part of this family for so long. Hopefully it continues. All right, now why is this short list a problem for gun owners specifically? This is what I'm talking about, is for us, the gun owners. Well, I'll go in reverse order here, kind of a lesser desirable to the least desirable candidate. We'll start off. New England came out there. We'll start off with John Thune from South Dakota. Now, He voted for the Undetectable Firearms Act. That was Senate Bill 2226. He also voted for HR 2882, which was the gun, I call it the Gun Control Research Act. That's when they wanted all of the research to be done so that they could funnel, gun control, federal money into gun control. He voted for those. Now, also, when he was previously asked by the Washington Post Live if he would support a then potential nominee, Donald Trump, his reply was, quote, "I hope we have other options," end quote. And that's not good, because in order for this to actually get into motion, what we're hoping is a change in government, right? There's a big hope. Everybody needs to be working together, which means you have to have the leadership in the House and the Senate willing to push the agenda, get these bills going, and not waste time like they did in the first Trump presidency. Even House Leader Johnson said that the House was caught off guard because nobody expected Trump to win. They thought it was going to be Hillary, so leadership was caught off guard. Well, now they're not. So they need to be humming in the same direction, and we need a good leader in the Senate as well as the House to do that. Now, while Thuney's record is not, of the three, it's the best on the Second Amendment, right? But he's also provided zero resistance in sending all of our tax monies overseas. He's been with Biden on all of the money sent overseas, putting other countries first rather than America first. Now let's next talk about Florida Senator Rick Scott. Yesterday, there was a change in the tide as many senators changed their vote to Rick Scott. And he is now in the lead to become the Senate Majority Leader, assuming everybody has followed through on the votes. There was a leaked list that came out yesterday. And yes, this is the same Rick Scott who signed Florida's red flag gun confiscation into law when he was then the governor of the Sunshine State. In fact, his quote was, quote, "I'm a gun owner and an NRA member, and I support red flag laws to help stop mass shootings," end quote. That was August 9th of 2019, for those who want to fact check it. There's a lot of people in this country pulling for Scott to be the Senate Majority Leader because he's a deal maker. And he did provide resistance to Biden sending all this money overseas, voted against it. So keep that in mind. Red flag Rick Scott. They want him to be the Senate Majority Leader. In my opinion, Rick Scott is not someone who sounds like they would be in favor of removing some of the infringements I mentioned earlier. But then there's the worst one of all. The one who had been considered the favorite ever since old Mitch McConnell announced he was stepping down from the leadership role back in February. And that's Texas Senator John Cornyn. Cornyn was the reason that Biden's Bipartisan Safer Communities Act passed. John Cornyn, was the one who rallied those turncoat Republicans to side with the gun-grabbing Democrats and violate the Constitution to pass the most significant piece of gun control legislation in 30 years. It cleared the way to bribe states to enact their own red flag laws. Sounds like Rick Scott would like that. Instilled age-based discrimination by creating enhanced background checks for adults aged 18 and 20, and more. All while saying back then that, quote, he was happy to be part of the coalition of the rational, end quote. And that was Biden's coalition that helped get it passed by the Republicans in both chambers. But that's not all Cornyn has done. He was instrumental in adding more Americans to the list of prohibited people and into the federal gun registry that we now know exists thanks to Gun Owners of America, by writing the Fix NICS Act in 2018. He's the one who wrote that bill. Folks, neither of these three senators have been Second Amendment allies, let alone solid Second Amendment advocates. Now, if you are going to call your senators to have them recommend a real leader, and you should, start by telling them to leave these three off the list. They are, by definition, part of the very system we are trying to destroy. Some better options, you might ask? Well, how about Kentucky Senator Rand Paul? How about Texas Senator Ted Cruz? Or Utah Senator based Mike Lee? Or Missouri Senator Josh Hawley? Two things we need to do. Number one hit up the Trump team on their Twitter or X, Instagram, and Truth Social accounts with this exact information. The second one is called 202-224-3121. That's the switchboard to the U.S. Capitol. And tell your senators who you want them to vote for as well. Remember, you have 2 senators. If you don't know who they are, the person who answers that number, 202-224-3121, will help you figure out who your senator is and transfer you to them, which means you might have to call that number twice. Guys, gals, let me know what you think about this. I am making this video strictly on the side of a Second Amendment advocate, saying that these 3 clowns have proven time and time again that they are not the strongest supporters of the Second Amendment. And that time to be solid on the Constitution, all of it, every single facet of it, is before us right now. So let me know what you think down below. Am I way gone? Am I off base on this? Or am I over target? And please make those phone calls and hit up the Trump team on their social media. We don't have long to do this. The vote's going to take place sometime Wednesday. So today and tomorrow, hit it and get it done. Appreciate y'all. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe, and subscribe to this channel if you want more information from behind the scenes stuff in Washington, D.C. that affect the Second Amendment. Take care, y'all.